bad situation once you have the bed bugs. So we hope that we could get this legislation done really fast, so things would get better for us.
我亦喺多謝對好多謝各位參事對我哋居住環境咁重視。Thank you.
We thank the supervisors to put such an emphasis on improving the environment for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. I'm going to call up a couple more name cards. I have Reggie Reed, Hubert Barrios, Michael Harrington, and Cece.
Okay. So good afternoon, supervisors. Thank you. My name is Jorge Portillo. I'm the program coordinator for the Mission SRO Collaborative, and I'm also a lifetime resident in San Francisco. So I wanted to start by acknowledging the hard work that's been put into this legislation, and really give thanks to the Bedbug Working Group for giving enough credence to something that I think a lot of people might have seemed like a small issue for a while, but that to those affected and to those that are supporting the people that are affected by this issue, really is serving as kind of a buffer to what could have been a real crisis. As a housing rights advocate for the Mission SRO Collaborative for the past 5 years, and also a friend of many people who have had bed bugs, I've witnessed firsthand some of the debilitating effects of infestations on people's lives. The work that this group has put into refining the processes that the city already has in place for dealing with this issue really puts us in line, I think, with some of the policies of some other major cities that sort of have been dealing with this issue in the past, and I think actually maybe puts us ahead of some of where some other cities actually wound up being. And so as a harm reductionist, I can truly appreciate this approach, and so thank you to the working group that put this together. Supervisors, this policy, like I said, does a lot to approach the problem head-on and puts in place procedures and policies that make it easier for housing advocates and the tenant community to navigate this process. But we know that we can put what we like on paper, promise to follow it to the best of our abilities, and commit to referencing the law whenever necessary. But unless funding supports to exist this work, what we say we can commit to is often different than what we can actually do. Many of those that are most affected, or I think severely affected by this issue, represent some of the more marginalized and disenfranchised communities of our city. And these families barely have enough to pay for their rent, much less pay for things like mattress covers, pay for things like industrial laundry services and stuff. So much of this work, as you see, requires also dollars outside of just writing this policy. In the past, supervisors, the San Francisco Department of Public Health and Environmental Health Division, through the SRO Collaborative's past housing and urban health contracts, used to provide this kind of funding. And this funding was used by the collaboratives and was spread very, very far, and we used it for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, this funding is actually coming to an end. Our ability to even use this funding is coming to an end. And so I would urge the supervisors to, in considering what this policy actually does, also consider what it takes to actually make this policy happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Portillo.
Good afternoon, supervisors. My name is Reggie Reed. I am a tenant and an SRO in the Tenderloin. I am also a tenant organizer from the Central City SRO Collaborative, and I do outreach in privately run SRO hotels. I have had personal experience with bed bugs before. The effects of having bed bugs cannot be expressed in words. Trust me, you have to experience it for yourself. Being awake in the middle of the night, the itching and all the biting. I've had sleepless nights, which affected my day-to-day living. As an outreach organizer at the Central City SRO Collaborative, I've had the opportunity to assist numerous tenants who have had bed bug issues. Many times during my outreach work, I found that tenants would tell me that had they known the unit was infested before they moved in, they would have made a better choice. They would have just chosen another unit, or maybe even another building. This legislation will help new prospective tenants to make that informed decision by knowing the 2-year history of the unit. I thank Supervisor Kim Campos for introducing this legislation, and I also want to take this opportunity to ask everyone who worked and helped support this legislation to please stand up and be recognized. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Hello, my name is Hubert Barrios, and I live in an SRO at 30 Sycamore Hotel. Basically, it's in the heart of the Mission. And on September 8th, basically, myself. I have sleepless nights because of this. I'm on administrative leave without pay right now from my job due to the fact that I had that and I got treatment. Basically, I'm waiting for the final inspection from the health inspector. So that is not until November 1st. So altogether, this is going to basically be about close to 2 months for me, basically being without work. And that hinders me personally. When I first got the bed bugs in my room, basically I called management. Management came in. Management also is pest control. What they did is they basically just came to spray this surrounding area and then left. I had to call them back at about 10 o'clock, basically to come and respray. Unfortunately, I had to throw away more than half of the things of my belongings. So, fortunately for the SRO collaborator to help me wash the remaining clothes that I do have. Thank you very much. But one other thing, proper disposal. Management did not do that. Actually, all the tenants put all the disposal out on the street.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.